What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Saved for More. I am Luke Goodish, as always. So today I'm going to be doing the first in a series of videos talking about my heroes, looking at the men I look up to. Shout out Walks with Seth for giving me this video idea. Last week on Instagram, I posted, what videos would you like to see? Seth gave me this incredible idea. He asked, who are the men I look up to and why? I thought, well, that's perfect for a video series. So here we are. First one, as you saw from the title, is Ernest Hemingway. We're going to start with my boy Papa. Most of you probably remember Hemingway as the old man and the sea guy. He wrote that book you were forced to read in middle school about the old man, Santiago, catching the fish, and then it gets all eaten as he's coming back. That's Hemingway. And that story might be Hemingway's best. That's debatable, I guess. I haven't read all of his stuff yet, so I won't have a firm opinion, but as of now, I really like The Old Man and the Sea. That's besides the point. Let's talk about why Hemingway is one of my heroes. Why do I look up to this man? Ernest Hemingway's novels and short stories, they're all concerned with masculinity, what it means to be a man, and why men are important. If you followed me for any time, you know it makes perfect sense that I would be a fan of Hemingway. What he writes about, his themes, his ideologies, really do align with mine and some of my core beliefs. I've always said one of the main reasons I have this channel, one of the main reasons I got into mental health and counseling is I want to bring boys to men and men to fathers. Because it's my assertion that a great number of today's issues can be traced back to men not living up to who they should be, men not really fulfilling the role of a man. And this is a reason that initially drew me to Hemingway's work. Hemingway has something known as the Hemingway Code hero. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but he gives you this archetypal man, this archetypal hero to hold on to. So for me, it's as much about looking up to Hemingway the man as it is looking up to Hemingway's Code hero. If you want to know the extent to which this man writes about manliness, look at this book, Men Without Women. It's a collection of short stories, but boxing on the front, Men Without Women, this dude liked doodliness. So not only did this man write about doodliness, this man lived the doodliest life you've ever seen. He was a big game hunter, he was a deep sea fisherman, he was a boxer, he did it all. That's the point. He really, really lived. I mean, he didn't just sit about and write. Just as his heroes, his code hero, he's not a man of theories, he's not a man of talk, he's a man of action. Hemingway's philosophy is one where truth above all else is paramount. And all of the sovereignty of an individual is up to that individual to grasp. The individual, they have to act in the face of chaos. This is what he shows you in the story, as well as what he tried to live in his real life, right? We must be brave by holding to that truth, that paramount truth, even in the face of chaos. Another reason I really look up to Hemingway is he's a writer and I'm a writer. I have my first novel coming out hopefully by the end of 2021. I just love to write. It's something that I've always done. I've been doing it since I was a kid. I've always just very much so respected Hemingway as a person and as a writer. But this brings me to the next point in why Hemingway is one of my heroes. His philosophy on writing and becoming a writer, it can be extrapolated and brought into anything in life. In the book A Movable Feast, you see that he believes that you're not just born Hemingway. You're not just born with this talent or this ability to do great things. Hemingway knows that it takes years of true, consistent discipline and hard work to get to where you want to be. He has uh, an incredible quote where he says, "It's none of their business that you have to learn how to write. Screw them. Let them think you were born this way." That's just something I love about Hemingway's whole idea and mythos. He's just such a man of pragmatic truth and direct action. He does not give you any fluff reasons on how he's done what he's done. He gives you no fluff reasons on how to be a good man. He says that it is just painful, brutal work where you will bleed. You will sit at the typewriter and bleed. The next bit of Hemingway's philosophy that I really look up to, really admire, is that he affirms courage and grace under pressure. Now, my friends Jim and Dom just had a giggle at that because that is sort of an ongoing joke with us. We must affirm courage and grace under pressure with everything we do. But besides the jokes, when you really look at this, it is a central theme in many, many of his stories. Hemingway loves to write about death and struggle and suffering, but it's about facing this certain death bravely, courageously, with honor. And this is what drew Hemingway to his favorite sport, bullfighting. Here's a quote from Death in the Afternoon. He says, "Bullfighting is the only art in which the artist is in danger of death, and in which the degree of brilliance in the performance is left to the fighter's honor." Hemingway does not deny the cruelties of life. He is very much so aware of the cruelty of life. He is aware of the abyss, and he looks at it and he says, "I'm not going anywhere." And he stares at it with a stern as shit face and that beautiful mustache, and he goes ahead. And that's what I love. And that's what I love about his stories. It's these men who are faced with peril, who are faced with certain death or certain defeat, and they refuse to go down. They are strugglers. Now let's get into that code hero we were talking about. Who is the struggler? Who is Hemingway writing about? Remember when I said Old Man in the Sea? This is maybe the greatest microcosmic example for all of us to grasp onto, especially because most of us have read that one. Santiago gets that fish on the line, and he is struggling with it through the majority of that novella. It's ripping his hands apart. The fish itself is getting torn apart, and that is where the real message lies. Santiago, the code hero, is a struggler. Even when the fish has lost all of its value, it is gone. It is meaningless at this point to bring that carcass, ripped to shreds, back to the shore. But he does not let go. He does not give up. He struggles through. He's finding meaning in that struggle, bringing that fish back. Because ultimately, everything we do here is fleeting and meaningless. That's just how it is. Every moment that I cherish and love and hold on to, my wedding day, anything like that, just fades into oblivion and shrinks back into the earth once my sands of time are gone. But that's not the point. That shouldn't deter you from living fully and deeply. That just means you grasp onto life as tight as you can while you're here, and you find meaning in the struggles. It's a very mythicissiphus type way of living. I would venture to say that Hemingway is a stoic and Hemingway is an existentialist. He writes about all the existential givens. They all come through in his work: death, isolation, meaninglessness, and responsibility. These key central themes of existentialism are present in his novels. So, beyond being a struggler, the code hero is often sort of a loner in some senses. And there's a reason for that that we'll discuss now. And it's another reason I look up to Hemingway. Hemingway himself and Hemingway's code heroes, I don't think that they are isolating themselves because they think, "Oh man, I got the red pill and like everybody else is like blue pilled out. Like I can't be hanging out with those bricks in the walls, dude." I don't think it's like that. I believe that Hemingway's code heroes and Hemingway himself, they prefer to go deep rather than far. What I mean by that is they don't seek a giant network of friends. They don't need a bunch of individuals to sort of surround them in a great Gatsby sort of manner. They prefer the one or two close friends because, as I mentioned earlier, he knows the meaninglessness of life. He knows that every moment is fleeting. So why spend your time with all of these superficial relationships? In his opinion, in the Hemingway Code Hero opinion, and in my opinion, it's much better to go deeper and as deep as you possibly can with those few super impactful friendships. And a connected point to this is the Hemingway Code Hero and Hemingway himself, they don't seek happiness in the outside world. Very Musashi, right? Nothing outside of yourself can ever build you up. The Hemingway Code Hero doesn't find meaning and happiness in other individuals. They find meaning within themselves by discovering their struggle and going through their struggle, enacting that struggle. Also, Hemingway loved cats, and I love cats. But what I was saying is the Hemingway Code hero doesn't find happiness and validation in others. Like I always talk about with the shaky base, Hemingway's Code heroes might be the best example of having a strong, secure internal base. These individuals know their truth, they know what they stand for, they know what they want, and they hold true, even in that chaos. The Hemingway Code hero looks into the abyss. He knows that we die. He knows that most of what we do is transient. He knows the sands of time are coming down on him, but he moves forward with grace and courage under that pressure. He finds meaning in the meaningless struggle. Hemingway asks, "Who are you in the face of chaos?" And that is what I'll leave you with, that question that Hemingway poses to all of us. Who are you in the face of chaos? What truths can you hold to in the face of chaos? How brilliant is your dance? How much honor do you have when death is charging at you like a
I know you don't wanna sneak through my window. I don't wanna rush it. Take this shit slow.